Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matthew Singati, the hybrid, the best of both worlds, the designer and a developer. In this video, I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm not going to teach you. We are just going to get to know each other. I realize that I have not introduced myself very well, the man behind the screen. Okay, so what do I mean by that? This video is not planned. I'm going to share my thoughts on who am I, my education, my skill set, anything, and I'm going to make up some questions randomly and then answer them. Why am I doing that? Obviously, when you are new into coding, more especially if you don't have an educational background in coding, you start to alienate yourself automatically even before you try, more especially when there's somebody who's telling you that coding is difficult. So at some point, you are not sure if how do these guys who make tutorials are making it. I remember when I was in varsity, maybe I think it was 7 years ago or eight, I was watching a programming tutorial. I couldn't see the face, but believe me, the accent was Indian and the age was almost like 10 or 12. And I was like, how does this young boy know this thing? Like, I wanted to know more about the person. So in this video, I'm hoping to reveal the things that I cannot share through code. Okay. The reason is number one, I want to some sort of encourage you and motivate you and also give you some sort of more about me in general. Okay. So first things first. The question that is on top of my mind now is how do you know if you are becoming a pro? Okay, let's say um, I happen to have a background in IT, but believe me, in school I was taught something else, not necessarily not coding, but not web development. Web development, it feels like it's something that I have self-taught because at school it was not web development, it was programming. Okay, so enough about that. We'll get to it later. How do you know if you are becoming a pro? Okay. Number one, obviously, you start from watching YouTube tutorials. You start from watching YouTube tutorials, and then you are not sure what's the measuring stick. You are not sure if you are becoming better. You are not sure. You only know that you can create an HTML code. You know that you can do a small project, but at some point you are in the mist. You don't know if you are moving forward or moving backward. More especially, you are like me, like you spend a lot of time without work experience, or you were in a different industry, like I was in graphic design for the most part of my life. So, how do you know if you are becoming a pro? This is the first tip that I'm going to give you, okay? If you are a beginner, you type a code today, and then when you come back tomorrow, it's not easy for you to know what's going on in that code, even though you wrote that code yourself. Okay, maybe in terms of time, the length, I might make an example. My example might be shorter. It's not a day. But the essence is you write a code this week and then you travel for whatever, a holiday. And when you come back to that code when you're a beginner, you always struggle as if you are not the one who was writing it. Okay. Is that a problem for the beginners only? No, it's a general problem. Okay. You forget what you wrote there. Okay. So but as a beginner, you it becomes tough. I don't want to lie. As a beginner, you move up and down your own code. It becomes a mission and a half as a beginner. It's something that is really, really stressing. And don't be emotional about it, or maybe think of yourself as not capable. Okay, that stage it's revealing some things. It's like the divine, if I can say, sending some thoughts to you about your improvement. Okay, so once you start to feel pain in development and stress, you must know that your muscle is scratching. So that pain or that frustration, it's pushing you towards becoming a different person. So obviously one might ask, how do I know if I'm a different person then? Okay, then this is step number two, where I'm going to talk to you about good programming practices. Okay, so as you get into the coding journey, get into the code and understand the languages. New course on JavaScript, Next.js, PHP. That's not a problem. That's more like a syntax, how things are done. Okay, how this programming language does things. However, there is some sort of a well of wisdom in design patterns. Okay, in a certain paradigm of thinking, which is more like a higher level or a senior level, which has got nothing to do with a specific language. Okay, specific programming language, specific framework. It has got nothing to do with that, but it has got something to do with development as an industry. Okay, so that's where you need to shift your mind and focus on design patterns. Okay, let me just give you some few examples on top of my head. Okay, the single responsibility principle in solid principle. Okay, number one, whatever that you do, it must have a single responsibility. As soon as it does a lot of things, you can't use it somewhere else, because when it goes somewhere else, it carries a lot of function of which the new code might not need. I hope you get the idea. Okay, it's like somebody asks for a teaspoon and you give them the whole house, because you are saying the teaspoon is some sort of blended in as part of the whole house. So the person who wanted the teaspoon, they have to take the whole house, carry a burden, which is some sort of, it's a heavy load on their shoulders, but they will do so anyway because they want the teaspoon. Okay, I hope you get the essence. So that's a design pattern. The most interesting thing, in fact, let me say, that's a good programming practice. The most interesting thing about good programming practices, they are not technical. They have got nothing to do with a certain programming language. The nice thing about them is that they appear in all programming languages, in all, anything that has got some sort of any computer problem. Okay, once you deal with computer and a problem, and you have a problem, or you want to solve a problem using a computer, then the design patterns will pop in. Okay, so meaning that, number one, how do you know if you are becoming better, you are improving? There must be an indicator first that you are struggling with your own code. That means you can't refactor. And one of the some sort of a quick indicator, it's like you write a code today and then it grows, it grows. On day three of writing that code, you feel like it's too complicated. You always want to start from scratch. You feel like, if I can start this code from scratch and then copy and paste the code, then it can be cleaner. So you don't have that skill of refactoring your own code. You always feel like you wish you can start from scratch. So it means that you are still at a beginner stage. And then you must jump into patterns, okay? Programming practice and good programming practices. They will help you a lot. I hope I didn't take time in this one. Okay, but that was something that was on top of my head. How do you know if you are becoming a pro? By when you are able to refactor your code, and also your code is efficient, and it's more cleaner. Okay, it does a lot, but it's more short, simple, and straightforward. Okay, now let's just take a U-turn a little bit. Let's talk about the channels that I subscribed to. As you can see here, this is a list. Obviously, maybe you might want to ask, which channels do you check, and when? And because some other people who are teaching on YouTube, they always like act like they are super pros. It's like maybe they've worked for Microsoft or Google or something, or of which, as for me, I don't wanna lie, I'm not that type of a guy. I watch these tutorials or these YouTube channels, as you can see, and I'm learning a lot from them. Okay, why? Maybe am I going to be transparent about it, or maybe not shy away from, I'm also learning from YouTube and other channels. The reason is, maybe some people get into YouTube channel for maybe earning money, or maybe, what can I say, for growing the channel into million subscribers. But for me, the initial idea was not that. Okay, the initial idea was to use YouTube as a portfolio to get work, so that um if we happen to be at a distance, let's say I'm gonna work remotely, at least I can send link to my YouTube video so that they can see that, okay, it's not like I'm saying that I can code, okay, but they maybe this is how much I know and this is what I'm doing. Why was I doing that? Obviously, I spent a lot of my time in graphic design industry, as you will see here in my old videos. So I didn't have experience. So I have used the channel as some sort of a reference. In some interviews, the question will pop up, how is coded design doing? And I'll be like, how does the employer know that I'm doing coded design? And then I'll remember, oh, in my CV, I've got coded design there. I've got coded design and also I have sent a link. Okay. So that's about it. So I was saying these are the channels that I've subscribed. Obviously some others are just general channels for entertainment, but the most part of it it's supposed to be I can say 80% programming and maybe I'm not sure 10% or 15% graphic design. Okay. Since we are here on channels that I'm watching, okay, there is remember please note that this person, it's not like this coding channel is better than others, but it explains a certain concept. Or maybe I understood this guy better than anyone else, okay. His channel is applicable programming. His name, I hope I'm pronouncing it well, it's Dalibo Jovic. Obviously, I might get the spelling wrong. Where is his name? Maybe you can shoot a comment below and where is his name? Let me check here. Maybe you can tell me what is his name. How do I go to? But his channel is applicable programming. The guy is experienced. He knows exactly what he's talking about. He's humble, approachable. I think I spoke to him on Facebook. Yeah, I've asked him some things on his Facebook page. He's a very humble guy. He can respond to you and share some ideas, because most of the YouTube guys, people who are on YouTube, sometimes you feel like they are celebrities sometimes. Obviously, if you send an email, they don't respond, and. So, but this guy, is very humble. What this guy explained to me, like better than anyone else, even better than my lectures. Number one, it's object oriented programming. And also, he drilled it into my mind that it has got nothing to do with the language specifically. So, he took away from me that microwave mentality of being language specific. Okay. That is some sort of object oriented in programming in general. And then he helped me to wrap my head around design pattern, and I'm thankful for and grateful for that. Obviously, then let's say 2 to 3 years back, I was interested in the concept of the design patterns, but it was not something that what can I say? It was not on top of my head, but it was an interesting topic though. Hence, I followed his channel when he's talking about design patterns. Okay, and also design patterns were solving problems that I am struggling with. Okay, this guy talks about spaghetti code. He talks about code reusability, writing a code that is tightly coupled. He explains that very well. So let me just try to search design patterns, okay, on his channel. As you can see, he's got content, and also his videos are detailed on design pattern. I think he also got a full course on design patterns, okay. But as you can see, design pattern, okay. And also, I watched this video and it helped me a lot. He's going through a certain code base, and he's improving it, giving you some real life example, okay, of which some channels they don't do that, okay. We stick into declare variables, functions, callbacks, and and all that thing. But with him, he also touched based on real life experience. When you watch his videos, you start to feel like you've got a snapshot of how the working environment looks like. And some of the things that he taught in his channel, I experienced them when I was working like as a front-end developer or employed for a company. For instance, I was given a chance to go to somebody's code base, or maybe somebody told me go and check the code base and look for patterns there. And to my surprise, I didn't see the pattern. Okay. The code was not that what can I say? It was not like it was up to standard because the app was working, but I felt like it's more like a one-man show. I struggled to understand what going on. Okay. But the person was convinced though that I must look at the patterns. Okay. But I didn't see any patterns there. Okay. So whatever that I've learned from this YouTube channel, it was real life. It was not language specific. It was useful. Also, I've watched this video. It was useful tips and all those things. So I've just decided to jump to that to my the some code that some YouTube channels that I watch. Obviously, I can't get through all of them, but all of them they are helping me. Okay. Let's jump to that. Let's jump to what can I say, to my education. I've got a diploma in software development. In school, I was taught Java, not JavaScript, Java. I was taught Visual Basic, okay? And that's it. I was not taught HTML. Okay. And when I was out of school, I was like, why I was not taught some cool languages like Android, what, Kotlin, React, and I just realized that at school I was not taught coding, okay, syntax based and whatever. I was taught to think like a programmer. Okay, I was taught programming, not coding. So yeah, in school, I got knowledge about how to solve computer related program problems. I was taught to think logical. I was taught to think smarter, okay, to some sort of to be efficient as a developer, I can say, not as a coder. Okay, so I've got a diploma in software development. Obviously, it then this talks to my next topic that I want to cover. I spent most of my life as a graphic designer in printing. In printing, I was doing coding as a hobby since I like to code or love to code. So I was developing my own application. For instance, I will work in a printing company, and then time and again we will have to type emails. Okay, and I will look for similar patterns in those emails, and then I will learn about JavaScript because obviously I can't install a new software on a company's computer because maybe the company might be like, you are going to give us virus. So I will look for a programming language that will be easier for me, like JavaScript, but then in terms of jQuery. And then I will just create a notepad code that I will run on the browser. And then that code will help me to some sort of make some templates of emails. For instance, time and again, we'll have to write some sort of a certain message telling the client that the colors of printing won't be 100% converting from CMYK to RGB. And you'll notice that these emails are the same. Hello, so and so. Please note that the printing is going to be like this and this and this. Kind regard, Matthew, the designer from whatever company. Okay, so I will use jQuery and HTML to design some sort of a form. Then I will just put the client name. I will just put select from the select box what type of a message that I want. What time of the day is it going to say? Good morning? Is it going to say good afternoon? Is it going to be formal or casual? hey Jakes, what up, what, and all those things. So I've been in the printing industry, but obviously, I was improving myself in terms of coding. I was doing it as a hobby, I can say, until I had to make a conscious decision that graphic design was no longer fulfilling for me. Maybe I learned a lot. The things that I wanted to know in graphic design, now I knew them. I knew how to print USBs. I knew how to design billboard. I knew how to wrap cars, and I could even wrap them, do it myself manually. I knew how to print and bind a book. I printed and perfect bound my own book. I'm unqualified graphic designer. So I think I've reached a point whereby graphic design was I felt like obviously it might happen. The decision was, what can I say? I was overrating myself, but I felt like there's nothing else to know in graphic design. Okay, so hence I've made a conscious decision to change, to switch careers. Okay, obviously that came with the what can I say? With a consequence, okay, because I don't have experience in coding. I've got the diploma, but whenever you apply it doesn't really work because you are tested. People want portfolio, companies want portfolio, and if you don't have experience, you are not considered. Okay, so that's how I moved. I had to move from graphic design into coding. Okay, so since I had a graphic design experience, so I decided to get into coding through front end. Okay, I was like, okay, let me get into front end. So to me, then front end was HTML and website. Okay, so obviously I started from WordPress and small things, and then I was learning parallel to that. I was learning CSS, JavaScript, and then I started developing my own small project, and I started solving problems for my small graphic design customers that I can design a custom or hand-coded landing page until I worked for a marketing agency that was also doing web design, and then. Okay. So when it comes to that, that's about it. What else? Okay. Let's talk about learning to code. Okay. What is the language? Maybe if somebody might ask, Matthew, what's the language do you think as a beginner I'm supposed to learn or where to start? To be honest, I will start with a very underrated or undermined language, which is HTML. Obviously, we underestimate HTML, or HTML is undervalued. Even when you are in an interview and you are saying the programming language that you know and you mention HTML, obviously there's always that look that HTML. But if you are a beginner, okay, understanding HTML is very important. I can't stress like I don't have words to some sort of explain the gravity or the essence of how important HTML is. Okay, why HTML is important? Number one, HTML is more of a hybrid. The modern JavaScript and frameworks made HTML to be a hybrid. Let's just jump straight into something realistic and practical so that we can put some practicality. Okay, as you can see here, uh, let me go to app. Okay, as you can see, this is an HTML tag. Okay, this is an HTML tag. This is an HTML tag, and this is a style sheet that was embedded here, but I deleted it. Okay, but there is some sort of CSS also here. So because you see that, one might think that this is some sort of a web page. Okay, makes sense. I will understand if you think so, but I am developing a mobile application here. Okay, the essence of opening and closing an HTML tag, it's still there. The idea of having what can I say, some functions or some events, okay, some events on HTML tag, like for instance, let's check here. This is a view, and since this is a mobile application, it's React Native. On HTML, you have on click, but since here we are on mobile, we are on digital screens, there is on press, so there is no mouse to click. So in terms of event, we can have here on press, let's see, on press, sorry, where is on press? Am I writing am I typing the right thing? Okay. Let's just look here. You just say type on press. Let me just see. But you still have all the event, okay? All the event, as you can see here on mouse, what everything is still here. But I wanted the on press one, okay? Meaning that when somebody touches this, okay? But let me just try quickly, try something differently. I'm not gonna take too much time on this. Okay, let me try to okay. Okay, let's see. I'm happy with this. I don't want this. Let me just remove this. Okay. Let me add a tag here, which is not a view, which is a touchable opacity. Okay. Touchable opacity. Let's just quickly check for it. Okay, here is it. Okay. Touchable opacity. Let me click this one. Yes. Okay, as you can see, now I'm going to wrap everything here with touchable opacity so that we can have one parent container. And then on this touchable, I know that this is something that you can click on. Yeah, now since I'm sure that this tag is something that you can click on, it's using button. As you can see that this is just normal JavaScript that you might be familiar with when you understand HTML. Okay, if you fully understand HTML and how you can embed some sort of what can I say, event, listen, not necessarily listen for event, but embed event on an HTML tag, then it means that you can develop mobile apps. But obviously, this is running on my browser also. I think it's running here. Let me just press W here and see. Okay, but this is not that important. Okay, but it's running now. Okay, so here is the application. It's running also on a browser. I'm using React Native, but where we were, I was talking about some sort of where do you start as a beginner? For me, I could say start with HTML. Obviously, the advanced developers and the internet will say, no, start with React Native, start with Kotlin, they will put all the buzzwords. And when you get into coding, you will feel like you are fighting with the devil and the demon because you really don't know this thing. When you start to master it, there is Node.js. When you start to master Node.js, there is Express.js. It becomes tough and complicated. Okay, but if you can start by mastering HTML, you are already like some sort of on your way to becoming some sort of a mobile app designer, a developer, and a web developer or developing web apps because HTML through React, okay? Obviously, React doesn't refer to HTML as pure HTML, but the knowledge that I have learned from understanding forms, because forms are still forms even in React. They are still web forms, okay? They work the same way. There are actions. There is a submit. A submit is still a submit even in React. So I will say the lowest hanging fruit, something that doesn't need you to install anything, no node, no, you've got it in your browser, you can run it without installing anything. It's HTML. Obviously, you'll push a little bit of CSS. As time goes by, you will be interested in getting into JavaScript through jQuery, and from there you will get into pure JavaScript. Those things will position you um for I'm not sure, for better opportunities. Okay, for better opportunities. Okay, so what am I doing? I'm not sure, during my spare time. Even though I feel like I don't have a spare time, I'm always coding. Okay, in most cases, and more especially now that I am sitting at home. Okay, what am I doing? I just sit at home and code. In terms of jobs, I have worked as a front-end developer from a South African-based company. Obviously, in these companies, we sign contract that we don't even understand sometimes, but because we are desperate for work and we want to improve our life, we just sign. Okay, so somewhere in between, there's something called NDA, and I've asked my employer, "What's that?" And he said, "No, this is a non-disclosure agreement." I don't know where it starts and I don't know where it ends, but I'm just explaining it to you just to say that I'm just going to reserve the company name since I don't read that document. They will explain to me that you are not allowed to do this when this happen. I will just say yes, 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 and sign on the dotted line, knowing very well that I won't even say or do whatever because obviously I've got my own life. If I'm done with the company, I mean I've got some other things to do. So I was just saying I'm not going to mention name for those reasons because I don't know how far it goes, that contract, because I didn't read that page. I've just signed and that's it, because I was serious and convinced and dead serious that I will never find myself in a dispute with the company or going to court. I'm too small for that. I can't. Just for not disclosing their information. And why would you disclose their information anyway? Okay, so I have worked for a front for a company based here in South Africa, remotely. Obviously, the contract was for 3 months and it ended. And now I'm freelancing, I can say, even though even the word freelancing, I have never used it much because I always felt like I don't understand what freelancing is. I think up until now, where you get a decent, not job necessarily, a decent project from a company that it's more like your semi dream company, okay? It's not in the level that you were hoping for, like obviously in terms of your wildest dreams, but in terms of looking at, you've learned coding from YouTube, and it was a decision that I have to make. Um, Being hired on a contractual basis or as a freelancer by this company, it's something that I was like, oh, okay, that means at least I'm getting there. So I'm working from home as a freelancer. So this means that I don't have permanent jobs or like a lot of jobs coming to me because I don't have a big portfolio, I can say. But here and there, I will send some messages to companies to say that I'm working from home, working remotely. This is the tech stack. Then obviously, some will come back to me. Some will come back to me and said, "Okay, are you available?" And I will say yes. They will tell me this is what we have. Also signed the NDA, non-disclosure agreement. You are not supposed to do this. You are not supposed to tell people about this. And obviously, I happily signed that page because I know that there is no way that I can even take their ideas and pretend as if it's mine. Since I believe obviously everybody has his own some sort of ideas, God-given ideas. There is no need for one to take someone else's idea. Okay. So I sit at home and I do YouTube tutorials and I do some small projects as well. Okay. But it's not something that is I can mention as something that is substantial. So if one is asking, is freelancing something that is possible? To be honest, yes. Even though I have never regarded myself as a freelancer for a very long time. I've been working from home for the most part. Okay, let's say for the past 2 years in a way, but I was not brave enough to call myself a freelancer because it will be 2 months in this project, and then after that, I will finish the project. I will stay for another 3 months, and then so I never considered it as something solid. Okay, let's just quickly jump to the YouTube channel. Okay, the YouTube channel was for me to improve my own experience, number one, and also to position myself for employment, okay, so that I can have some links. But as it is growing, obviously the numbers are very small, but for me it's growing because I'm learning, I'm becoming a better person. Now I'm starting to think of, if I can reach at least 8,000 subscribers, I will start to look at it as something, okay, meaning that what can I say, um try to respect it now, like in terms of to focus on it, even though most of my life I'm on coding and I'm also on YouTube videos, but I will treat it like other YouTube coders try to come up with things, okay, something like an office or something, okay. What else? Did the graphic design play a role in my front end skills? A lot, a lot. Because now the job that I got, or the project that I got, the guys were looking for a front end developer. So obviously the screens and the UI, and they didn't put much time there, because they had to quickly do the project, and for some many reasons, the UI was not. They didn't even spend much time in it. Okay, but now that they have uh, hired me, and then also I'm a UI designer. Okay, now I'm starting to some sort of create high fidelity screen, meaning that taking it from wireframe and bringing it into life, okay, so that it can be more of a realistic thing that can help them to think, at least I'm hoping. So the graphic design experience helped me a lot. When it comes to anything like SVG, I don't struggle with it. I do what I want, however I want, be it it's a logo, it's an icon, it's whatever. So I don't struggle. Let me show you something that I think might explain more about my skills as a graphic designer and in front end and how they match. um okay, by the way, I'm developing my own accounting system for freelancers. So for now, it's like this new smart invoicing application developed by freelancers for freelancers. Okay. So just got also a dark mode. Okay. So if you might want to get in touch, like be on a waiting list, you can just come here and click here, put your name and email. As soon as we've got version 1, we will send you an email and communicate with you. Okay. The reason why I was here, I wanted to show you this part. Okay. This is something that I believe it's not popular in web development. It's not popular. Okay, maybe some people are doing it, or maybe some companies they are doing it, but I don't think this is, it's too, it's popular. Okay, what is it? Okay, if you look at, this is an image. Okay, this is an image. Okay, but I have some sort of combined this image which with a what can I say, a user interface element or an HTML element, this green div tag here. So as you can see, you cannot really tell if is this an image, this green part as part of this image, or which one is which. Okay, so obviously people who are in web development, they've got ways in which they can test. So if you want to test if is this an image or is not an image, you will see anything that is an HTML element, it will be responsive. Okay, so let's look at that. As you can see, this is becoming smaller. Okay, now that we are on responsive mode, as you can see that it's becoming smaller, but this one remains as it is. Okay, as you can see, okay, it's moving like this. Okay, so this is my some sort of a proof, or a living proof, that this is a combination of graphic design skill and web design or web development skill. Obviously, maybe I might be overrating myself here. Maybe this technique has been used by different companies, since I believe I'm not the first person to be a designer and a developer at the same time. But I was just saying that this is my original thought. Okay, it's something that I thought about it when I was just playing around. I was like, okay, let me try to do this. Obviously, it might happen. It has been done before by other people. In closing, this is my website. I am Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. If you might have some concept that you want me to explain or things that you are struggling with, I've got a 10-hour coaching course where you can schedule a discovery call for free. Okay, we can talk about your problem, what you are struggling with. Maybe you've got a question that you want to ask, a burning question that you want to ask, and you can't ask it on YouTube. Just give me your name and your email. Okay, I can come up with some sort of I propose a solution as to how can I help you. Maybe master HTML, master React JS. You want to know a thing or two about MongoDB, saving to the database. Okay, I can help you with that. The advantage of this uh, a 10-hour coaching course is that I teach you what you want to know and solve your own problem. And I will craft a course that is unique or tailor-made according to your needs. I'm Matthew Msengati, the hybrid, the designer and developer. Thank you so much. If you feel like this video has added value, please just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one.